Usually on a Monday night, and once in a while go sneaking in behind Mr. Jones. That's right, Miss Harbush actually got the outfit to be able to have that when she saw this. It's pretty dang awesome. So this guy is constantly sneaking up on you. Constantly, he sits right here on your shoulder, talks into this ear. All right, I don't know if it's a male voice or female voice for y'all. I don't know if it's both. We need to talk about that if so. But y'all get that later. You never, it says this all the time, you can't do that. You'll never achieve that. Someday, look on your phone real fast in your calendar and point out where someday is. It ain't in there, is it? But some of y'all act like that's like the next day or like a week or some little period of time here, but it is magic fairy dust, man. It doesn't exist. So stop saying someday, pick a day. You don't have time. This one gets everybody. You got the exact same amount of time. That's the one equalizer on this planet with these human beings on it. Time is the equalizer. We've all got the same amount. Use a system to be able to leverage your time. You're too busy. Maybe when everything slows down, that's my favorite one when somebody says, well, I'm coming into my busy period of the year. How long is that? 6 months. I can look at this next year. Okay, bye-bye. I'm not going to sit there and chase that. What if you fail? What if you fail like you failed in all those other things you've done? You remember you've tried one of these things before. What if it doesn't work? What if it looks like it's working for some other people? We saw like 7 cars out there with Coyote stickers on, but what if I'm special and it doesn't work for me? That's what your terrorist does all the damn time. This is where I'm talking about on that little path, and you got 2. This is the one on the left. You let this guy walk you around. He's walking you. It's like the dog walking the owner. The terrorist is walking you around. Your body is walking you around. It is in a habit. The same one that causes you to brush your teeth a certain way is running you. Another form of the terrorist. So, what do? Like I mentioned before, recognize that it's there, be conscious, be aware of it, and get over that and just say, nope, that's not what I'm going to do in this moment. I don't know what's going to happen 6 minutes from now. But this thought that I'm going to have in this second, because there's about 84,000 seconds in a day, and you got about 80,000 thoughts, that's 1 per second for all you math majors, okay? So win the next one. I missed that one. Well, that ball's already passed. Let's worry about the next one coming down. What you gonna do with that one? I'm gonna freak out. Okay, well, let a couple of them go by, and now get yourself out of that, and get rolling again. So, when you're building this, think of this as your mental checklist of what you're going to need to do in this business. When you're chatting with somebody, you're trying to fill this out. Think of it like a doctor going into the patient room, and they're sitting there, and they're up on there. They got the little gown, no underwear. It's a little weird sitting on the paper, and they've got the little checklist here. It says, so, what you in for today? Well, I'm not making any money. Check. What else? I don't feel so good. In what way? Well, I got blood pressure. You're going to be that person that's taking their history. You're trying to fill out a file on them. You're trying to figure out, is that thing beeping? That's cool. Would you put 10 more on there with what you had? Thanks. So you want to be able to walk around and know exactly what's going on with this person. So when you're listening, actively listen. Don't listen with the intent of being able to say the next thing. Some of you are listening, but you're not really listening. You're just pausing to gain air in your lungs so that you can start speaking again. I wish they'd shut up. I've got so much more important things to say than they're saying right now. That's how a lot of conversations go. If they are communicating, as he said, they're usually on their phone. But if they are communicating, all it is, and my grandfather used to do this all the time, my grandmother and 2 of her friends would be over, and they'd all be sitting at the table, and they just get done eating, and he'd be looking at them, and all 3 of them were talking at the same time. And he'd look at him, he said, y'all aren't even listening to each other. Y'all all talking to say, get up, leave. He'd be so mad about it. Make sure you're actually listening to what they're doing. It's not about you talking, it's about you listening. So build that rapport. Well, Casey, what if I don't know? What if these aren't people that I know a whole lot about, like you were showing in the other slides? What if I don't really know these people? How do I do that? You gotta build rapport with them. You gotta ask questions. And listen, go deep, be a friend, not an interrogator. Some of y'all are like, where were you the night of the 14th? You know, big old flashy light in their face right there, sweating them out. You know, don't be that way, right? Make sure you're having a conversation, not an interrogation. Form, you've heard this a couple times. If you're lost, when you haven't been able to get to the point where you tell your story, this is the beginning of the conversation, do form, family, occupation, recreation, motivation. How's the kids? How are they doing? Did you get married? How's that going? Depending on how you don't know them that well, you gotta find this out about them. How's work? You still hate your boss? Did you go on any trips, recreation? Did you go on any trips this summer? You going anywhere this winter? You gonna go out later and get a pumpkin spice latte? It's fall. Yay. Get some questions going to get the conversation going, right? Some of y'all are overthinking this. You're like, oh, I can't have fun. I gotta be serious. No, mix it up, man. You'd be surprised some of the funny things that I ask people. It's kind of entertaining for me. Motivation. What is it that they like to do? Are they in jujitsu? Are they doing karaoke? They're doing crocheting or whatever somebody was asking earlier. And somebody said, which ladies crochet? What if I crochet? What if I'm a guy that crochets? You never know. So, again, connect. This is the second part, right? You find out where it's broken. We say it's a 5-step system, right? We do that because everybody likes 5 steps. 3's too few. It's really 3 steps because, I mean, come on, wave, say hi. But the good stuff is here. How you doing? Having that conversation. The next thing, connect. I'm sorry to hear you're dealing with that once you identify. What if you don't identify anything? What if you get done having a conversation with them? How you been? I'm good. How are you doing? Good. How's the family? Family's good. How's your family? Good. How's work? Work's great. How's your work? Great. You been on any trips? Yeah, it was fun. How about you? Yep, had a good time. What are you doing for motivation? That thing still? Yep. How about you? Yep. Okay, good seeing you. That's the end of the conversation. Nothing's broken. Nothing came up. Pat them on the bottom. I gotta go get eggs. All right? Now here's what's gonna happen. This is key that we miss this because we try to plant and harvest the same day. Okay? When you plant seeds, they don't grow that fast. Sometimes they do. They're miracle seeds. Actually, it was miracle garden dirt that it was planted in. The seed's the same. But sometimes when you have this, you think that you got to harvest right away. It's not the case. You've built a relationship. You have built rapport. Go the long game on this. Anybody quitting next month? Raise your hand if you're quitting next month. By the end of the year, if this doesn't work by December 31st, I'm out. Anybody? All right. How about June of next year? Y'all quitting? No. So why do you have to hit it done right now? Some of them are going to need a little bit longer to marinate. Some of the best chicken you can have has been marinated for a little while, right? That's right. You just pop that sucker out of the refrigerator and throw it on the grill. You know, it's okay. It's chicken, whatever. Let it marinate sometimes, all right? So if you don't get this, that's fine because they're going to go home and they're going to tell their spouse, you know who I ran into today? I ran into Joey. What y'all talk about? Well, not a whole lot. We're guys. We don't talk about a whole lot of stuff. How you doing? We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. And that was about it. Really? But you talked to them. That's great. Connection has been made. Next time you run into them, say, hey, we saw each other a couple weeks ago. How you been? Oh, man, you won't believe what happened. Remember how I said everything was great in my life? Well, guess what? Something broke. Huh. Hot water heater went out. And you know what? I don't have $400 in my bank account, much less the $800 it costs for a hot water heater, like Jenny was talking about. Interesting, huh? So if everything's fine now, that's wonderful. Good for them. Chances of things breaking down the road, pretty good. It's called life. All right. Sorry, you're still dealing with that. How long have you been dealing with that? What are you doing to address that? How's that working for you? Would you like any help with that? These are the questions that you can use. Now, here's the part that we do here, is this is where we weigh them. This is where we find out how serious they are. When you dig in, if you're not getting goosebumps, they're not passionate. That was a lukewarm conversation. Then it was lukewarm, move on, right? I'm trying to plant these seeds in this concrete, and they're just not going in so well. Let me get a drill and just force my way in. No, you can. It is an approach. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, if you want fruit, there's a better way. all right? So we weigh it, we find out how hot that oven is, we find out what that scale's doing. That's why it's in the actual logo of our organization that there's a scale. That's what it means. You're trying to weigh that. Not every one of them's gonna pass this test. It's okay. Then the last thing, edify and pass. Use the analogy all the time. If you're in the store, somebody's sink's broken, you talk to them, they tell you all this stuff. You ask them if they need any help with that. They're like, yeah, I'm just here to get a mop to clean up the mess, but I don't know how to fix it. You don't say, let me go home, get all my tools. I'll be over in the next 6 hours, plus YouTube, we'll figure something out. No, don't do that. They don't want you to do that. You don't have the proof. And if you do go over there and do that, and it does magically somehow work, they're gonna look at this and go, well, I won't be able to do that. I don't have 4 to 6 hours to explain this to the next person. Follow the system. If you do, it destroys the time excuse. You don't have to be the plumber. You have plumbers you can point them to. Is this resonating with everybody? Poke your neighbor. All right? This is the key. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna monitor the interaction. Because in a system, when you have a little conveyor belt that moves stuff from point A to point B, do things fall off the conveyor belt from time to time?
Yep.
They're human. They're gonna find ways to do things the way we don't want them to do. And that's okay, because they're human. So when that happens, you're gonna monitor the interaction. If you pass them over to one of us and they don't respond, it is incumbent upon you to check on them and say, hey, you said you wanted help with your sink. I introduced you to a plumber. He responded back, you're making me look like an ass. Did you still want help with that, or did you already solve your problem?
Yeah.
That's cool. If they did, cool. The ultimate goal is they solved the problem. Or we found out that they really don't want to fix it. And that's just as good. We just don't want them stuck on the side getting chewed up by the gears of the conveyor belt. You want to rewrite them, put them back on there? Yes, I do. Well, did life just blow in? And yeah, I had a blowout, my boss was sick, and I had to do this, and I got busy. Because this isn't as important to them just yet. They don't understand it just yet. They can't. You haven't explained it, and you're not going to. That's our job. But you got to get them to the movie. You got to get them in front of the picture show. The light switch is to shine the light switch, turn the light switch on, shine the light on them, find out what's going on. Then we weigh it and find out if they really want to fix it. Then we pull the lever and we move it to the next person. That's not you, that's us. Or when we weighed them, we found out that they did not want to fix it. And then when we pull the lever, that sends them right out here into this little nice river. And we give them a little cold beer, their favorite flavor. We got a whole tap on the walls. We just pour them a little red Solo cup, put them in their little inner tube, and send them on down the chute. Go back out there, have a good time. Don't be an ass to them. Don't be mean to them. They're your friends, they're your acquaintance, they're humans. There was a time where you didn't understand this either. There was a time when you didn't have all this personal development. There was a time where you were just as crazy as they were, and you might still be now. So have some compassion for them, okay? Follow up. Did you get a chance to review the information? Did you get a chance to talk to my guy? Did you get a chance to do whatever it was that needed to be done? No, I didn't. Hey, no problem. When will you make time to review the information? You were the one that said you had a problem. Do you still want to fix it? Did you get a chance to review the information? Yes. Fantastic. That's wonderful. Do you see yourself partnering with us? And pause. Wait for the answer, because if they say yes, get their credit card information and get them enrolled. If they say, no, not yet, I got some questions, or they said, well, I'm not quite sure. Well, do you have any questions? We get them to the next thing. They have a question? Great question. Let me get back on with my guy. I don't know. Let's find this out together. We'll reach out to the expert. And you keep doing this over and over again. Does this make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Cool. Overcoming objections. Yeah, I did. And we got to the end. But I'm not quite sure. I have an external resource that I don't think I have enough of. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I'm on this little track, and this is getting ready to feel uncomfortable, and I like being broke and comfortable over here. And you want me to do something. You've got to overcome the real, you've got to find out what the real objection is. People don't say no to this business. They say no to what they think they have to do. They have something in their head on how they're gonna fly the airplane, and it is incorrect, most likely. So what do you do on that? Ask questions back. What do you think you would have to do once you got started? Well, I'd have to fly this thing upside down, have a G-rated suit to be able to fly up in the airplane, and I don't have all those things. What if I told you that you push 4 buttons and then you go back in the back and have a mimosa? That's how you fly the airplane. Let's get you back on with the guy so he can explain that, because obviously you weren't paying attention the first time he explained it, and so let's do it again. And that's perfectly fine, because not everybody gets it the first time. But that's your role to be able to help at that part. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Excellent. All right, I'm excited for this. It's gonna be good. I saw this guy present very first time. It's been a couple of years. It's actually at Andy's house, Kathy's son. He didn't know he was going up. I think I told him like 7 minutes. This was back when we were hotel heroes and living room legends, and this guy was a living room legend that night. Star was born. I didn't know he had it in him. I was like, let's get him up there and see what happens, right? I do that a lot. It's like push him up front and see what happens. That's fun. For me, sucks for them. But anyway, he was like, he looked at me, he's like, say what? I was like, yeah, there's like a room of 40 people in here. I think Miles was down. Miles was actually coming up after him. And he was just got started, right? I mean, like a couple weeks ago. And I throw him in the front room and he